And I forgot to unmute my mic. All right, I'm doing this again. I'm totally a professional at this. Let's get started. Uh, as far as announcements go, at the beginning of this show, still no sponsors. Once again, if you want to send me money to promote your product, hit me up in my DMs. Um, the other announcement that I forgot last time is that about 3 weeks ago, I promised that I was going to do a 12-hour charity stream because everybody helped me hit my goal in March of getting 25 subscribers to my Twitch channel for my 25th birthday. And I said it was going to be probably on the 25th of this month, which was last Sunday, and I most definitely did not do that. Or was that yesterday? That was yesterday. It's Monday. Yeah, cool. I totally have everything a-okay, know exactly what I'm doing. Um, so I said it was probably going to be on the 25th. It wasn't due to just life situation. But I am still planning on doing that. I'm going to plan it for. I'm going to actually set like a solid date and time. I am going to plan it for. Where's my calendar? May the 9th. So either the 8th or the 9th. So in about 2 Saturdays or 2 weeks. Just because I've finally locked down a more stable situation with school and work and everything like that. And so that's the announcement at the beginning there. There will still be a 12-hour charity stream right here on this Twitch channel. Any and all donations will go to the St. Jude's Children's Hospital. And it's going to be great. I plans for the stream, stuff like doing every single raid in Destiny. Maybe I'll play Overwatch again or Apex with my brothers. It's just going to be fun. That's the goal, is just 12 hours of fun with me, with my friends, with my brothers. Maybe I'll play some Super Smash Brothers, bust out Minecraft. Who knows? I'll get a more solid lockdown plan in the next 2 weeks. I'll come up with some charity goals, what will happen if we reach certain donations. And yeah, I think that'll be it. But for now, we're gonna lock this down either on the 8th or the 9th of next month in about 2 weeks, and we'll see how it goes from there. So that covers everything for now. Now to move on to the actual topic of conversation. If you tuned in early, I forgot to edit my stream info before I started streaming. So this is not episode 4. This is episode 5. Talking about, in my opinion, why a lot of football coaches shouldn't train weightlifting for their students, for their athletes. This comes from a more recent development along my lines of work and stuff like that. I work for one of my buddies who owns a gym around the town I'm living in, and my buddy, he has cut a deal with one of the local schools, and he trains their football team for weightlifting. And it's been a really interesting experience seeing all that, having like a full team in there and stuff like that. Granted, the numbers have died down and stuff like that. Certain kids, they don't want to do it after a while, after they realize that, oh boy, this is hard, this kind of sucks. But it's still really cool to have that team dynamic, see everybody in there, get to work with all these high schoolers, see the people that really want to succeed. They want to excel in their sport and stuff like that. But a recent development has come up, and it's gotten a lot of us thinking about stuff, and this is where my opinions on it come in, and I just get to make a little show about it because that's what I do when I want to vent about stuff. But so the recent development is that I can't speak today. The football players being at the gym, being trained by my buddy, is not like a school sanctioned thing. It's not something that's required for them to do in order to play on the football team. The school did not necessarily green light the prospect. The football coaches did. And now 6 months or 7 months down the road, the school has decided that they don't really want the kids to be there anymore. Even though our gym is literally 5 minutes from the school, it's two streets down from where the school is. So it's not that far of a distance. Most of these kids are going on and off the school campus for their sports activities anyways. But the school they are floating around the idea that they don't want them to train with my buddy anymore. And this is an interesting thing because I talked to a lot of the students about this, and we've talked to the coaches about this too. One of the things that the school has seemingly promised is that, like, oh yeah, like, we want the kids to, excel at the sports and stuff like that. Well, we're just gonna build them a new facility. Like, we have the space. We're just gonna build you guys a new facility so you can do all your weight training here at the school where it's sanctioned and everything like that. And totally just X our side of this whole situation out of it. The gym it's not involved anymore. My buddy's not involved anymore. We're just gone. Now that sounds like, like you might be miffed a little bit because it sounds like you're just losing a lot of money. Like, it sounds like a business standpoint that you're just losing money from the school and stuff like that. And to an extent, yes, we are. Obviously, if we're not going to have people training at our gym, we're not going to be earning money. But this is not that I'm wearing a gym shirt. This is not the gym I'm talking about. So just ignore that for a second. I just realized that I only have gym shirts now. So, like, this is from a gym from a few back at home, not where I'm living currently. Anyways, like, okay, so yes, like, that does happen. Two, the students get an insane deal from a money standpoint. They only pay for a membership cost that isn't even full membership price for our gym, but they get full access to the gym, and they get programs written by my buddy who owns the place, who's also a certified personal trainer and everything like that. So they don't have to pay personal training costs or anything like that. So these kids are getting one heck of a deal for not even full price membership, which A, is a really good standpoint in ours. B, the other thing is that the school, I've been to the school. We did some of our initial testing for these kids, doing their agility tests and their 40-yard dash before we started weight training them. I've been to the school. The school reminds me of the high school I went to. That being said, this school does not have the money to build a weight training facility. They just don't, especially of the size that they're kind of talking about and sort of promising the coaches and the athletes. The school, if it's anything, it looks like my old high school. It is built about the same as my old high school. The facilities are about the same quality as my high school. With just that observation, there's no way this school has enough money to build a new weight training facility, at least of the scale they're promising. Maybe they have enough to get some new equipment and stuff like that, but they definitely don't have enough money to build what they're promising. They're basically promising to build what we have at our gym over at the school right now. That's how I understand it right now. And there's no way. I pointed out to some of these kids, I was like, I'm like, you see this rig that we have set up that it looks nice, and we always have you guys do a bunch of lifts on it, and it's got all the pull-up bars and stuff. They're like, yeah, and I'm like, that doesn't look like too much. It just looks like a bunch of metal beams and stuff that you set up, and you can put attachments on it. And they're like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, that was $5,000, like, just for that one piece of equipment. So that's another thing, is that even if the school is promising to build the equipment. It would just be cheaper for them to send their students to the gym that already has all the equipment and has spent the money on the stuff rather than spending the money to try to build a new facility. Now we get to the actual point that's in the title of the show. So the actual point is that the third thing is that and the actual point is that if they do this and they decide that they're not going to let any of the students train at the gym anymore, and that they need to be at the school for like sanction, that they're going to do their weightlifting classes at the school, because they talked about that. They wanted, instead of having them do an extracurricular weightlifting thing that's not school sanctioned and is off the campus of the high school, that they would have a class. If you played in the sport, it was required that you take a weightlifting class in the school. Now, here's my beef with it, is that I took weightlifting classes in high school. I played a bunch of, well, not a bunch of, but I did, especially in my junior and senior year of high school, I did a lot more weightlifting than I had my freshman and sophomore year, because I threw shot put, and my coach was very good. Our coach was awesome. I love my coach still, as attested to the fact that the majority of our team went to states my senior year for shot put and discus. And even better, the fact that, I'll get to that in a second. Never mind. So, like, I did all of that in high school myself. That being said, high school coaches do not know how to train weightlifting. It's that simple. It's just not what their specialty is. One of the big parts of the deal we have cut with the football team for them to train at the gym is that they don't interfere with the weightlifting and we don't interfere with the sport. So, like, a football coach probably should, and I'm going to give, especially out where I live, I feel like most of them have played football at some point in their life. But a coach understands the sport really, really well. And so we let them, you teach the kids how to play the sport. You teach them how to tackle. You teach them how to block, how to throw, how to catch, plays that they need to do. But a football coach doesn't necessarily know how to teach weight training. From experience, this is probably the easiest example I can give, is even though I did weight training from like my sophomore, junior year of high school, it wasn't until I was 21, until I turned 21. So I'd been out of high school for 3 years that I actually knew how to do a proper squat for weightlifting. And that's come back to bite me in the past. If you go back on my Instagram videos and stuff like that, if you go way to the beginning of it, you can see that I don't know how to deadlift properly. I don't know how to squat properly. I didn't learn until 3 years after high school, when I had a coach getting me ready for a powerlifting meet, how to actually lift. Now that sounds a little ridiculous because, like, I could throw out numbers and stuff about like what I did, but like, needless to say, I wasn't the strongest person in the world, but also at the same point in time, I also wasn't the weakest, even if I didn't know how to lift correctly. But I had multiple coaches throughout high school and after school, after I graduated and stuff, and they know the sport really, really well. My coaches did a great job of teaching me how to play volleyball. They do a phenomenal job teaching me how to throw shot put and discus, even if I sucked at discus. Really good job of teaching me how to throw shot put, all the proper techniques, what I need to work on, stuff like that. And but they didn't know how to teach me how to lift properly. And this is the same situation that I am willing to put my non-existent money on, that these football coaches at the high school don't really know how to lift properly either. None of them, guaranteed, none of them have personal training certification like my buddy does. Um, I remember when I was talking about this with one of the kids a week or so back, one of the athletes, after they were done with their, it might have been 2 weeks ago, after they were done with their workout, I said, I was like, when was the last time that we were talking about the whole situation? And I gave them my points, I think that this is dumb because one of the things I said is, when's the last time you saw any of your football coaches lift with you, like when they're in the gym with you guys, or just lift in general? Because some of the football coaches are some of these kids' dads, and even the kids whose dads are the coaches, they were like, I think I've seen my dad exercise or lift weights, not necessarily exercise, but I think I've seen my dad lift weights once in the past like couple years. And it's like, okay, like there's the point. How are you supposed to train these kids in something that you're not familiar with, something that you don't do? That's why we have people that are personal trainers and weightlifting coaches, because they're very familiar with it and they know the proper technique, how to prevent injuries and stuff like that, what's best for these kids at their age and all that stuff. But this is an idea that the school doesn't want to run with anymore, necessarily. Now, so what are some, at least in my view, some solutions, if anybody's listening to this and they ever find themselves in a slightly similar situation? It doesn't necessarily have to be with sports, but in my case it is, because that's what I do a lot, is I weightlift a lot. So in this situation, what could be some solutions to this issue? Obviously, the easiest solution that I could offer is the school just lets the kids keep training with us. They keep coming to the gym we're at. They keep training with my buddy who's got the personal training certification for a ridiculously low cost. Again, they're not paying a full membership price, and they're not paying for any personal training costs. I think now that we have more clients, they're still getting 246. They're getting 2 hours a day for 3 days out of the week of personal training. For the price of less than a full membership, which is one heck of a deal. So I don't know the exact numbers of the price my buddy charges for an hour of personal training, but I can guarantee that spending $40 a month to get 6 hours of personal training, or 6 hours of personal training 3 days a week, or 2 hours 3 days a week for the entire month, is a lot less than what he charges on a day-to-day basis. Guarantee. So that's one solution, is they just, you know what, stop trying to control it so much and just let this happen. If they want to have a better controlled environment, they want the kids to stay on the campus, they want, that sort of stuff. And again, or maybe first off, I'm not exactly sure about the whole logistics of this whole situation or anything like that, how deals have to be done with schools and stuff like that. But if they want the kids to be on campus, they shouldn't have the PE teachers, coach, or the football coaches teach kids how to lift. They just shouldn't. It's that simple. They should at least the next best situation in my head, as I understand the situation now, is that they should bring us in to, or my buddy in, to train the kids. Again, our gym's like 2 streets down from the school. It's a couple of minutes, no more than 5, probably 2 or 3, depending on how cluttered there is, depending on if anybody crashes in the roundabout right outside the gym. Um, so that in my brain, that would be the next best solution. Bring somebody else in that has that expertise instead of spending all this money on a facility that's gonna get little to no use. Use what you already have. Maybe get a 1 or 2 nicer pieces of equipment, and then spend the extra money that you have to bring in someone certified to train your kids under, on the school property, on the school facilities, under the watchful eye, whatever you want to say. Something that is sanctioned by the school. That would, at least in my brain, that's the next best solution. There is one problem with doing that I see immediately in my brain, as far as I understand it, is that if you want to pull a trainer or 2, because usually we have 2 trainers that work with these kids, if you want to pull them from the gym to the school to train these kids for any given point in time, you have to compensate them for that. It's gonna cost more, because especially since my buddy is, this is his gym. He's been running it for a little over a year now. His time is valuable. Time is money. That sort of stuff. He has a ton of clients that he works with, and so if you want to say like, hey, we want you to leave your facility and come to our facility to train these students, they're gonna have to pay up to get him to go from where he's making his money to somewhere else. But that would probably still be cheaper than trying to build a whole new weightlifting facility on your school's campus that probably doesn't even have the money to do that. Other outcomes, simple. We keep doing what we're doing. The school doesn't really come to a conclusive statement because politics and teachers unions and all sorts of stuff, and they don't actually end up getting anything done, which could work into the favor of us at the gym, where we still get to train these kids while making, obviously money is always a factor in it. We're still going to be making a little bit of money, but the kids still get all this personalized training with no personal training costs, or very little, I'll say, a very small personal training cost. Or the school just completely nixes the football team's no longer allowed to train at your gym. They have to train at on-campus facilities, and then we see what happens. A decent number of the kids, I know this is discussions that are happening over the next few months and stuff like that with the school, the faculty, the administration, the coaches, and stuff like that. Discussions which my buddy has been invited to, which is awesome. They are bringing him in on this conversation of what they're going to do, so he can present his thoughts and ideas about the whole situation, which at least they're letting him do that, which is a good start. So it's going to take a little bit of time. Again, maybe they just get cluttered up in the politics of it all and nothing actually happens. A decent number of the kids, when presented with the situation, a decent number of the kids just said, we're just going to keep showing up here. They're like, we love this gym. We love training here. We love the programs you give us. We've gotten stronger. We've gotten faster. They've noticed a difference, and they're like, why would we stop doing this? We love it here. And so a decent number of the kids, obviously the kids that are more I don't know if devoted is the right word, but probably the kids that are more, yeah, devoted is probably devoted to the sport and stuff like that are the kids that are saying this. So it's not, a grand majority of the team or anything like that. But it is something that might happen as well. The long story short of it, though, is that after your team has trained for 6-7 months or so at a facility and gotten specialized personal training, you do not want to all of a sudden take that away and then just hand it off to the football coaches or the PE teachers to do, because none of those people are qualified. They're not certified to do any of that. That's not what they do for a living. The PE coach is just. I had one. I'll count it. Maybe two. I had two all throughout elementary school to high school. Two PE teachers that actually looked like they were fit. Okay? And one of them was the wrestling coach at the high school. So, this is not necessarily their lifestyle. Hold on a second while I ban a fool. Stupid bot accounts that come into the chat. Ban. Anyways, this is not their field of expertise. Their field is teaching. Their field of expertise is the sport. Their field is not personal training, not teaching how to weightlift. So, again, my solutions are either... actually, let me rephrase that. So those aren't their field of expertise. So, they shouldn't be the ones in charge of it. Again, my solutions are you either go to another facility, cut a deal, get good personal training costs, have a personal trainer that's certified, like my buddy. You have them deal with that because that's their area of expertise, and you teach the sport. Make sure there's a very distinct separation of those two. Or you bring somebody in, somebody extra, to train the students as well. So yeah, those are my thoughts on it. That's going to be it for today. Shorter show than last time, but obviously this is just a small topic I wanted to talk about and not me kind of doing a pseudo review of a TV show. So that's it for me today. I hope everybody who tuned in enjoyed. Show will be available later on Spotify, on Anchor, on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. I'll put this up on my YouTube. It'll take a second though because my internet is not the greatest at my new place, so it takes a while to download these videos now. Feels great, man. And that'll pretty much be it. So thanks for tuning in. If you're listening later, please leave a like or a review. Anything helps, and it helps people find this and more of what I do, and which in turn helps me, not have to live in my car. If you're feeling really generous, you can always subscribe to my Twitch channel. That supports me more so than just leaving a like. And yeah, I think that about covers it. So until I actually figure out how to have buttons off screen to transition from slide to slide and turn on my music and stuff like that, that'll be it for today. And thanks for tuning in. So cue the outro music.